Welcome to my channel, to everyone who's new here, and of course to those of you who are back again. Great to have you here. In this video we will take a look together at possible scenarios for the price development of several altcoins. Things remain exciting, so make sure to watch until the end. You will also find another video on my channel where I analyze Bitcoin and Ethereum daily. That's definitely worth checking out. And also worth checking out is the crypto exchange mexc, which has a similar trading volume to Bitget, OKX and Bybit. But as you can see, the huge difference are those low taker fees. 0.01% for opening and closing a trade is very cheap, and on top of that you can save another 20% on those low taker fees if you use my referral code or link, which you can find in the video description. Also, 100 pairs with 0 fees are tradable just on mexc, and here you can see a huge list of popular altcoins which you can trade without any fees. So let's get to XRP. XRP broke out of that triangle. The first take profit was the $2.25. We got there. We didn't break out much higher. I could have think about, okay, we get into that area. Here we get support and then we get into the next one. It didn't happen, so we are back into the triangle. So since we took 50% out of the trade, I would say, okay, this trend line is upwards, so my stop loss is lower than this trend line, and I'm still going with a smaller position size for the tops here. If it's going to happen, then it's good. If not, then I'm still overall in profits with my trade, but I'm safe at least. So what if it breaks to the downside? Let's assume the $2.18 breaks to the downside. I don't actually want to do it, but I would just take the target of that triangle and put it to the downside. Then it would get us down to $2.10. I don't see any other chart pattern, and I think that is still going to get valid since we also have fair value gaps. I have also put here a circle where I think the chances are high that we meet this area. But first of all, we have to break the $2.18.6 to the downside, and then here we have support $2.14. If it also breaks to the downside, then XRP is short to me with a higher chance getting into that circle which I have put here. I would say the $2.03, let's say $2.04 are the most important support which we have, because if we break that to the downside, then the chances are even very high that we meet the area $1.86 to $1.92 again for XRP. So if we break the $2.25 to the upside, then I have said, okay, $2.30 is going to get the target, but if we also break that to the upside, then we can get into the next resistance area where I think we might not overshoot it. So we should get rejected there with a very high chance for XRP. So what about Dogecoin? Many circuits here. I can take this one out because this fair value gap got closed, and I can put those ones here. So rising wedge broke to the downside and got the retest. Here was the breakout candle, here the retest, and we got the follow through. So now the candle also closed and we are starting a new candle. So Dogecoin is short to me right now. I'm going to enter a trade after this video. So if we look into the support area, which is this box here, I can put your price mark, the 17.5 cents. If we break it to the downside, then I think the 17 cents are going to get very interesting, because in the past we got their support a few times. Yeah, you can see it, for example, here, the 17 cents were resistance. You can see it also here, resistance, and also this huge block here, resistance. And we already got here once and got support. So if the 17 cents are not going to hold, then we can meet this fair value gap, which gets down to 16.6 cents. So I don't think that it is going to happen today, a sharp sell-off, but still it looks first of all short, down to 17.5 cents. Here is the first take profit, because there I expect a small bounce. and this bounce can for sure indicate a new bullish move to the upside. Then I would be safe if I take profits here and set my stop loss to break even, or that push to the upside is just going to get a correction to the down move. That means we can meet another low for Dogecoin. So that is going to get my plan. 17.5 cents, take profit, then I set my stop loss to break even, so then I'm safe with Dogecoin. So what about Solana? Solana was a bit short earlier. I'm already in a short trade for Solana because what we have tracked here was a rising wedge. It broke to the downside. We got the retest. We didn't get a follow through here. We went sideways. And by going sideways, we have built up a rectangle. So here with that candle close lower than the rectangle, we have got here the follow through to this down move. So basically I will clean this up so you can see it a bit more better. Let me clean it up. So the candle close here is lower than the candle close here. So this is our follow through for which we are waiting for. So with that candle we have also broke to the downside from that rectangle. Not sustainable yet, but it is the worst sign of a breakout. We have also broke a major support trend line to the downside, which you can see here, with one touch point here, several touch points here. Here we broke to the, now well, let's zoom in, it's even more detailed. We got support here, we broke to the downside, we used it as resistance, broke to the upside and got support again. So this trend line also here again, not really, I was looking wrong. But in the end of the day, here also we broke to the downside and here it's resistance. So we also lost that support to the downside. So what do I think for Solana? Solana is short to me. We can even get a little bit more up to 150 US dollar, not questioning that. Maybe even spike a bit up more, I don't question that as well. But I think the 145 US dollar are going to get very interesting for Solana, because there I have my first take profit. There I expect a small push to the upside, and then we have to see if we break the 145 US dollar also to the downside, then we can meet this circle area here where we also have the target of that rising wedge, a fair value gap which we would close, and also in that area we also have support right here, a bit lower than this area. Yeah, but so that's my plan for Solana. So my stop loss for Solana is over that top here, somewhere here. So this is my game plan for Solana, and let's see what is going to happen. If the $145 breaks to the downside, then I'm going to increase my position size even more for a huge profitable trade for Solana. Cardano also looks short to me. We have said, okay, if we break the 74.5 cents to the upside, then we can meet this circle. I can put this circle out because we have broke major support to the downside. The 71.12 cents were very essential to hold. We broke that trend line to the downside very often, but we always missed the follow through. So here's the breakout. Here was the retest, but we didn't get the follow through. So basically same happened here and the same happened here. But here we broke to the downside, this candle closed here. We got the retest, a very fast one within 1 hour. And here is the candle close, lower than the breakout candle close. So basically Cardano is short to me. And yeah, I don't want to say 66.6 cents is going to get my target, because that would be very bearish in my view. But that's actually my target. So Cardano can lose 6% to the downside, and if we also lose that support, because I think that those trend lines are going to meet each other in a cross. Also time wise it makes sense to me. So if we lose that cross, and we have seen it with Solana, we also had a cross here. As you can see, here was the cross, and we broke that to the downside perfectly time wise. So the same can happen here. Here it would be the 27th April. Yeah, okay, I can't tell you the time right now because we all have different times, forget that. But might be possible that we break it like this to the downside on a later point. So the short is ongoing for Cardano. Stop loss is over that top here. And let's see what Cardano is going to do. My first take profit is here, 66.6 cents. And then I will see if we break something to the upside, then I'm going to close my other 50% of the short trade. If we break to the downside, then I would even increase my position size again. So what about Render? Render still looks to me, yeah, it didn't do much, to be honest. We had here our double top pattern, which we didn't invalidate it, but which we also didn't break to the downside yet. We would break it to the downside if we break the $4.30 to the downside. What we also did here is, yeah, a possible rectangle or also a smaller double top pattern. We have to see how it's going, but if we get here a major push to the upside again, then it is for sure a rectangle. If we also break that to the downside, the $4.36, then the target would be the $4.08. If I put here a price tag and I just move that target here, which is the spread of that rectangle, just a bit more to the right side and zoom in, then you can see that the target of that rectangle is perfectly hitting our support. So the $4.09 are going to get very interesting once we break to the downside. But also, if we break the $4.36 to the downside and we get a major push to the downside, because we have a bearish pattern which broke to the downside, then we get more moment traders into the market, which sell off and short. If we then break the $4.30, then the bigger chart pattern will get activated. And the target here is the $3.80 for Render. So I would be a bit careful with longing Render at the moment. I also think if we look into the Elliott wave method, and we have said, okay, this is a wave 1, a big wave 1, and now we are getting a correction, which is the wave 2, and we just take the Fibonacci retracements, then what usually happens for a wave 2 is we get an ABC correction. And the wave A usually gets into the area between the 0.5 Fibonacci to 0.382 Fibonacci. This are those levels. This is wave A. That also fits to our target of the chart pattern with a fair value gap and with support. So that's very good. Then we get a push to the upside, which is the wave B. This is the correction to the down move. And after that, we sell off into the area of the 0.618 Fibonacci to 0.786 Fibonacci, which is this area. I've also put here a square on the chart, so we don't always have to track the Fibonacci retracements. I think Render is with a high chance going into that area, into that purple box. But first of all, I want to take the trade down to $3.80, take profits there, and look for better entries. If we then get a push to the upside, then we will probably find another entry for a Render short afterwards, and then take another move to the downside. So this is my plan for Render at the moment. I don't see anything bullish. If I If I see a breakout, then I would set my stop loss somewhere over those highs and just ride the move to the downside. So what about ONDO? ONDO didn't do much. Actually, nothing. We have said this can be a double top pattern. Okay, we didn't broke to the downside. We had the 95 cents, 94.5 cents, which needs to break to the downside to be bearish. What we have now here is another double top pattern. I have forgot to put here the target. I always take the less bearish one. So if we break the 98.42 cents to the downside, then the target of that double top pattern would be the 93 cents. The 93 cents, if we get there, can also be the breakout of the bigger double top pattern. And then the target would get us down to 85 cents. So also here for ONDO, I would be careful. If we take out those highs again, put here like this. So if we take the highs out, then we can take, let's say this less bearish one target to the upside, and then we would also get into that fair value gap where I have put the circle. But we have to break to the upside first. It is possible that from now where we get a tweet from Trump, for example, and then crypto is pushing up, then it's not tradable for us for sure, because this movement is too fast. But if we get somehow a slow and nice push to the upside where we get a breakout candle, 1 hour breakout candle over it, with a nice retest where we see we get really support here, and then a follow through, then it looks positive, and I would jump into the retest, set my stop loss tight, and try to get into that fair value gap. But I don't see it at the moment. I think the chances are far more higher that we break to the downside for ONDO. So what about SUI? I think SUI and HBAR are the only coins which has bullish chart patterns. This can be a falling wedge. Also, it might be possible that we break even that trend line to the downside, the lower one. It is not a big deal. We can replicate this trend line here, put it here, and then we would have, if I take this one out, then we would have a bull flag. So it doesn't matter which, if we break that to the downside or not, the first trend line here, it doesn't matter. We still have another one, and I can even imagine that we probably get here rejected and sell off together with Bitcoin, Ethereum, and so on into this area here. And if Bitcoin, Ethereum, and so on are going to have a small push to the upside, then SUI can probably do this. So, but also here, I would take out the possible bull flag out first. So, if we break to the upside, and this is currently the $3.52, then it might be possible that we get into the area $3.80. That's the target of that falling wedge. But how does it look like if we get there? Double top pattern. Is it going to be bullish afterwards? No. If we don't get a major push to the upside, then SUI would slowly topping out and is probably going to get its correction. If it's not getting now, if it's getting a breakup with a nice push to the upside, then I wouldn't get fooled from it. I think if we break to the upside, then we have a good chance of a double top pattern, which afterwards break to the downside, and then we see far lower prices for SUI. But so far, we don't have that chart pattern at the moment. We have a falling wedge, which is a bullish one. So I just want to remind you that this scenario exists. And I can't tell you anything about the chart structure of SUI because I don't see any chart patterns. I just see fair value gaps. Here also many fair value gaps, smaller ones. So those fair value gaps usually get filled. Doesn't have to be. Yeah, it can also get filled in the next bear market, But I would be very careful for SUI, because if we take, let's just take the low. No, let's not take this low. Let's just take the push which we have since, which day is today? The 27th, since we have like 1 week, okay? We have already made 82% within 1 week. That's, if you say 10% per year S&P, that's 8 years of the S&P performance. So, do you really think that it is going to get another push to the upside, or would you say, even if we get the same length, yeah, we just take the same length of that push and put it here to the breakout point then? Let's imagine we had here an 82% push to the upside. How much is this going to be? 44%. So on the chart it looks good that it goes up and up and up, but if you look into the percentual move, then it's going to be less and less soon. So I think we will get here a major pullback to the downside, where we at least get a 50% correction of that price movement to the upside. Yeah, not 50% of the overall price. On that up move, 50% down. And afterwards a nice push to the upside. And here I want to go into a trade. Not when we are in the top area. For SUI. So I will take this one out and let's get to HBAR. HBAR is also same like SUI in a falling wedge. If we break to the upside, what did I do here? Okay. If we break it to the upside, I will take this target here, make it also orange. The 19.45 cents. If they break to the upside, then the falling wedge is telling me, okay, 20.4 cents is going to get our target. But same like SUI. If we break that falling wedge to the downside, to the upside, a bit later, like for example, we do a move like this, and we get here. What do you see? Okay, double top pattern, which then can break to the downside and can be super bearish for HBAR. So far, HBAR still looks good to me, as long as we hold the 18.97 cents. If we break it to the downside, then we can fall back to 18 cents for HBAR, where we have our best support, which we have built up over this whole bull market. You can see here how often we got a nice bounce on those price levels. So I think the 18 cents never broke really to the downside, just once, and afterwards it was also difficult to get over 18 cents. So basically 18 cents is going to get the target. If we break the 18.9 cents to the downside, then I can imagine something like this. Take profit in this area where we also have a fair value gap. And afterwards we have to see. Maybe HBAR is going to get a major bounce to the upside, or maybe we lose that support. And then the 18 cents are going to get our worst resistance again. We have seen it in the past. I don't want to see it again for HBAR if I want to be bullish. Also, what we had here was a double top pattern, which didn't break to the downside. So this can also happen for SUI and for HBAR. I will show you that. We had here a top. We had here another top. If we have sold off, then double top pattern, breakout, short. But here, double top pattern, broke to the upside. What is going to happen then? We take the spread, which we would have put to our breakout point if we break it to the downside. We put that to the upside. And as you can see, very, very near to it. Yeah, we were close to that target. So basically this can also happen. Yeah, we don't have to be very bearish. If we see just a bearish pattern like this, we don't have to break it out. We can also break to the upside afterwards. It is possible. So, I still expect a pullback for the altcoins. It might be even possible that we overshoot and we get step by step a little bit higher. It is possible. As you can see, HBAR has done it, where we have formed a double top pattern where we would have said, okay, slowly we are topping out, but no, another push to the upside. I don't want to say that this is our last push to the upside, might be possible, but we can also get another push to the upside where we sell off and then again to the upside before we then sell off with a huge major correction. So I hope that I gave you some valuable information and see you tomorrow. Bye bye.